Wednesday. This man right here is one of my favorite dudes right here. This is my guy Austin. He was at Lakewood High back when I was coaching ball over 10 years ago. And not only did he play high school football for us, but he was also a wrestler of ours and just one of my favorite dudes. One of the first memories I have is city tournament. He got a broken nose, and we just loaded him up with some gauze, and he just kept on wrestling, man. Didn't phase him, even though his nose was over here closer to his ear, man. He just kept getting after it. But yeah, Austin, tell us about yourself, if you could.
Thank
Tell the whole nation about yourself.
Hey man, it's a pleasure to be here. I'm happy to be on the show with you. Um, I think you summed it up pretty well, man. I'm from the St. Pete area. I originally am from New Jersey, New York. I was born in Jersey, moved up to Florida, or down to Florida rather, when I was real young, about 6, 7 years old. Grew up around here on the south side of St. Pete, and man, the rest is history. I don't know if you can hear my phone going off, but I apologize about that. I'm trying to get that silenced here.
Oh, you're good, man. No worries, man.
So yeah, graduated Lakewood 2015. Moved around a little bit. I moved up to North Carolina very briefly, but it played a large part in my life moving up there, and then came back to Florida. Finished up BMT and paramedic school down here, and been in the hospital side of things since about 4 years now. So that's
Hey,
that.
I love that. I love that you're doing that and giving back and everything. Let me ask you this now, man. I mean, we talk about mental health and stuff like that. Are you currently staying in shape? Because you look like it.
Thank you, thank you. Trying to. You have to make time to. Yeah. I think coming out of after football and wrestling after high school, after having that huge outlet of negative energy, you when you're thrown into the world, you don't know where to put it sometimes. I think a lot of people need to find themselves in the gym and get some of that energy out there.
Yeah, absolutely. When you have that negative stuff, you got to give it out, get it out, but you got to get it out in a positive way. Getting a
Yeah.
good run or the gym is it's very important. How do you now these days currently? How do you now challenge yourself, whether mental or physical? Is it gym related?
Honestly, it is. You find yourself getting complacent sometimes, so it's important to set little goals here and there. I got an app now. There's a coach on YouTube, Dr. Mike Israetel, RP Strength. He's got this app that I use that helps me set some goals with my weights. There was a long time where I've been really plateaued, and trying to break through that's been a challenge. But I used his app, and man, it's been a help. But it helps me keep track of things, and it sets goals for each workout pretty much. And man, little increments here and there make a big difference after a while when they add up. So doing pretty well. But yeah, that's pretty much how I challenge myself these days. I mean, I'm making music sometimes here and there. Playing, I got some guitars over here. I play the guitar once in a while. So man, it's about
Uh,
the little things now. You start to realize.
what music influence wise? Who do you try to model yourself after?
Well, I'd probably say some of those old school kind of heavy metal guys like Metallica. They still hold a pretty heavy influence on some of the music that I make and listen to nowadays. So yeah, it's those guys. I don't know if you ever listened to Deftones back in the day, but they're making a big resurgence, and I love their music.
Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, man. Metallica, they're kind of timeless. We got some people chiming in. How you guys? Good to see y'all. Thanks for chiming in. I got my man Austin here, former player of mine, and we're just chopping it up. We haven't talked in a long time, but we're just going through some different stuffs. As far as like influences in as far as working out and maybe mindset. Is there something you can throw in that'll get you fired up? For me, man, I like listening to like Jocko Willink. I like Dave Goggins. You
Yeah.
know,
I save those podcasts for like the early morning on the way to work. Those get you in a good headspace. When I'm at the gym, I need some heavy tones to get me through it because I'm really trying to push myself. But man, I do like the word. People like David Goggins, Jocko Willink. They have a huge message that they need to give, and I love the stuff that they're putting out. I need to get some of their books. Actually, I hear they're real good, so I need to start doing some reading myself.
Yeah, dude. I'll tell you what, the audio books are pretty on fire as well, man. You can check those out and get your workout in. Big shout out to Favor VR. They're saying what's up, Frank. How you guys? Good check with y'all. Let me ask you this, man. At your age, life has thrown you some curveballs. You were a kid, kind of single parent. Is that correct?
Yeah, man, there was a lot of hardship growing up, and my mom and I dealt through with a lot of adversity. It's kind of what forced us out of New York, New Jersey area. We were kind of extradited by our family, almost forced out a little bit. So we found our way down here, and my mom, came from a place of, a terrible neighborhood where she was surrounded by drugs and alcohol and abuse. And she's been a huge role model for me because she came from that, and she, raising me, went through nursing school and managed to stay afloat somehow. And now she's been a nurse for years, and she's, man, her strength has been a huge, light in my life because without somebody like that, it's hard. Having a support system like her, and I have a great girlfriend that I live with now, so um, having support like that is huge. But my mom, yeah, she's a strong woman, and she was able to raise me through a lot of tough things. And I think help from people like you, my coaches in high school and middle school, wrestling coaches, football coaches, people need support systems like that. And I think the strength that coaches can provide, not only physically but mentally, for these young men is huge. And I thank people like you also for the way I grew up.
I appreciate that. I kind of came up very similar background. It was just kind of me and mom forever. I definitely, that was why I wanted to get back into coaching, just so I could help out a young guy that would be like myself, like yourself, and everything. Got a good question here from VR. What are some of your favorite hobbies now? What can we find you doing besides the music and hanging out with the new beautiful girlfriend? What else do you enjoy?
Oh man, I don't know if I would say enjoy much, but I have a Jeep now.
Oh,
You know
wow.
anything about Jeeps? It's a pain in the butt sometimes, but I've really tried to embrace being my own mechanic as much as I can. I've got trust issues with mechanics sometimes, so I really try to get in there and do stuff. I mean, it's overwhelming sometimes when you pop a hood and you don't know anything. But the help of YouTube videos of I've been able to do some stuff, and I've been proud of my stuff. Little things like changing an alternator are big wins for me. you know, but
Victor.
yeah,
Heck yeah, man.
but
So that was one of the things, as far as like discipline. You working the long hours at the job now, still finding discipline, to get the workouts in and stuff like that. Why is discipline more, important than motivation?
mm, man, that's a good question to ask. I saw a picture one time, and it kind of portrayed like a graph where it had motivation, and it was almost a staircase or almost like a stock sort of graph where it goes up and goes down and has, gradual increments of going up, and eventually the progress starts to decrease after a while when you lose that motivation. But when you have discipline, it's different. That motivation is intrinsic. It comes from yourself, and you're your driving force. And when you have something that's consistent like that, that's the only thing that really shows progress in the long run. It's the little things like the gym kind of teach you that you can make little wins here and there, but it's over the long period of time that you really can take a step back and see your progress.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's not going to be workout number 135 that you just walk home and you look in the mirror and you're like, yo, I am jacked now. You
No.
know, uh, it's a process, and it's just embracing the process and just doing it anyway. On the days you don't want to go in there, give yourself a minimum 30 minutes, because a lot of times, man, you get to that 25-minute mark and that starts to happen, man. You start to crank it up, you start to feel good, and
Yeah,
outdo that 30 minutes and
yeah.
whatnot.
I tell
Absolutely.
people all the time. People ask me about the gym, getting into the gym. I say the hardest part about the gym is getting there. Once you're there, you can get into your own headspace. Really, it's about showing up.
Man, absolutely. Let me ask you this, Austin. How many times have you left the gym feeling worse than when you walked in?
There have been at least a handful of times, maybe more, maybe
Yeah,
more. Yeah,
that's a
especially
guy.
our creatine and get the belly rumbles after you just start creatine, maybe, or have Taco Bell before. Maybe it happens. It happens.
That's my life lesson right here. Don't eat
Yeah,
Taco Bell before your workout.
yeah. I've had to learn that lesson more than once.
Man, amen. Let me ask you this. Like now we're distracted more than ever, due to our phones and due to alarms and stuff like that. How are you able to protect your time, and how are you able to manage your time wisely? Was it something that sports helped you do?
Absolutely, absolutely, 100%. And I can go back to football every day. I mean, it was laid out by the 15-minute mark what we're doing, and when you're a kid, you look at that and you kind of look at it as a thing of dread almost. I got to do this and then I got to do this. And then when you get older, you realize having a structure like that is hugely important to your life and your routine and the things that you go about. Just doing on a daily basis, even you might do it a million times, but if you have that structure, I mean, I still write my schedule on the calendar on the fridge. I got it on my phone, I can pull it up, but I think having stuff that a visual reminder, even too, little things like that are huge.
Yeah, man, absolutely. I believe, in building yourself a blueprint and having, just things you do daily that are just non-negotiable, just like you want to brush your teeth every single day, that's non-negotiable. A 30-minute workout is the same. A cold shower for me is the same. I drink the nasty apple cider vinegar
Oh,
every
you do?
Austin, it never tastes good. And I've heard people say, "Oh, put lemon lime, put this in it, put this in it." Dude, it tastes like puke. But guess what? It's got a lot of health benefits, and that
Oh,
right there is the rewarding part. I got somebody checking in here. Mower, I play football. I am a 10-year-old player, and I play football. Hey, that kind of goes into my next question that I had for you. How old are you now?
I'm about to turn 27 in a month.
Right.
One day
April
almost.
1st. April the
Well,
1st.
first,
Hey, let me ask you this. If you could scroll back 10 years ago, you'd be, about to be a senior. What advice would you give your 17-year-old self now that you got, you know, 10 years in the side pocket in the bank? What would you tell
yeah.
yourself?
It's almost disappointing to say that the advice I would tell myself is the advice I was probably getting from my teachers and my coaches. It's just to stay on track, do your homework, man. If I would have just applied myself at my schoolwork, the ease of my college years would have just, man, flew by, and I set myself up for failure really by not applying myself. And man, if I could really beat it into my head as a kid to tell myself, man, just stay on track, don't worry about girls, don't worry about video games, just stick to the grind. It's a couple of years now and it'll pay off in the long run.
Yeah,
But yeah.
absolutely. That's good. That's good to hear you say that, because it's still it reigns supreme and everything. Uh,
Yeah.
let me ask you this. We talked about where you went to school at. He's went to high school, graduated from the Lakewood Spartans here in Southside St. Petersburg, Florida. And you were there, when some legends were going through that school. We're talking about
Yeah,
Shaquille
man.
Griffin, Isaiah Wynn. I guess Rod Wave was
Yeah.
he
Hey,
was a young guy
it's
coming up.
not just athletes.
Right, right. So not just athletes, very talented players. AD Palmore, the cyborg, mixed martial artist. Uh,
We still gotta watch one of these matches, Coach. I
he,
gotta
he's
get you
got
down.
he's got an event the day before your birthday. Last
Really,
year on your birthday, yep, he does have an event, I believe, on the 30th. So we'll see what's up with that. See about possibly having a watch party. But what was it like going to school with those guys, or seeing them now and what they're doing? Is that just like mind blowing, or what?
it really is. It is, and it's cool. It's cool to talk about to people, but it's an honor, honestly, to just look back on the memories. I mean, when you're a kid and you see them just on another level of everybody else, you kind of know that they're going somewhere, and you see it happen, and it is crazy to see how many, just the number of freaks that came out of there. I mean, yeah,
Absolutely, man. And that was the thing. You went against those guys every single day at
yeah,
practice. And that's the thing that I loved about having guys that played both sports. Is in Can you explain the difference between like how a wrestling practice is and a football practice, and just how a wrestling match, is just full on for two
yeah.
minutes, no, no whistles blowing or anything like that? Can you kind of explain the difference, and then tell how they both help each other?
I think it's almost two forms of discipline, really, but they really, like you said, they really, you know, help each other out. And I think that's why a lot of athletes should probably try and do multiple sports when they're kids, just to get different viewpoints. But from wrestling, it's getting your technique down was everything. I was thinking about this before we got on the phone call, too. What was our Coach Niles, right? What was his name
Yes, sir.
back in the day? I mean, he would have us do just one each practice was dedicated to one move almost, and we would get that down. We'd practice it almost all practice. We'd get some gassers at the end. We'd do sprints before every practice. But I mean, we were so close knit though. There was so few of us at that on our team that we really had to. I mean, we had a lot of athletes at that school, so iron really sharpened iron. But I mean, we had. I mean, I was what 165 wrestling with Tyreek, who was heavyweight at the time. So
Got it.
but that's another thing where you can kind of, if you're wrestling outside of your weight class, you can get some experience that you would normally get with people in your own weight. So that's one aspect of it. But there's a huge difference between that and football practice, where there's 100 of us, and each coach is assigned to 20 people, and it's just organized chaos almost sometimes. But man, the we had some great coaches at our team, and I think it really showed in our production each year.
Absolutely. The football program has just been the they just have set the bar over here on the south side. I don't know if you saw it, but the Gibbs basketball team won the basketball state title. The men's basketball won state title this past weekend.
Good for them.
Pretty phenomenal, man.
Uh,
Gibbs, you can almost throw a rock from Lakewood and hit it. They're so close. So it's good to see people doing well on the south side.
oh yeah, I mean
Yeah.
we have transfers from Gibbs to Lakewood all the time too, and vice versa.
Yeah, man. But it's funny because you have these bigger schools like your IMGs and schools in Tampa. Plant, Tampa Bay Tech, stuff like that, man. You're not having guys transfer as far out this way from there. So it's good to see them win with some local homegrown talent and whatnot.
Yeah, yeah, it is cool to see, but it just goes to show, man. I mean, we got some athletes in our area. I don't know what's going on in St. Pete, but we might have some secret formula down there somehow.
Yeah, man, something in the water. I see, TJ Tampa. He's going to be drafted this year. They're saying possible first rounder. I mean, why not? The guy is an athletic freak. He's a hard worker. You never know. You may see him have a breakup, in the Super Bowl, just like our guy Marquez Valdez Scantlin had a
Yeah,
touchdown in the Super
I
Bowl.
know. Yeah, man, the success he's had is awesome, isn't it? Love.
Absolutely. But as we were talking too, with every guy that has success, you have guys that have setbacks. Our guy Rodney. Do you remember Rodney's last name by any chance?
I want to say Anderson, but I could be wrong.
Okay, okay, but yeah, he was a wrestler for our team. He did not play football, but he wrestled and just always had that huge smile on his face,
Yeah,
and it was contagious. And then, just a few years back, I remember, seeing an article where he had robbed a place and stuff like that. So,
yeah.
yeah, man, how do you go about and avoid stuff like that? How key is the people that you keep around you and the nucleus? How key is that to your trajectory in life?
Yeah. It really is the people you have around you really make up who you are. I think sometimes, and the hardest part is recognizing when you're in a bad spot and getting out of it. Really is you can't shine a light on how hard that is. And sometimes you don't even realize you're in a bad position like that because all of your influence tells you that it's the right thing. So, if you're trapped in a cycle like that, it's tough to get out of there. And I feel probably Rodney got slipped into some sort of cycle like that, and you know, it's tough to hear stories like that because you mentioned it. He just had a big goofy smile on all the time, and we messed with him, but he really was the light of the room all the time. When he walked in there, and he'd be happy. If you're having a bad day, it'd turn your frown upside down. So it's tough to hear that, but man, I hope he can turn things around and find himself a good support system.
Absolutely. That's the thing, you never really know how down you are until you are rock bottom, and that's possibly where he was at for a while. Hopefully, we hear some other good news from him. But that's the thing, man. We only got one shot in this thing called life, so you can always you get knocked down, but you get back up. You keep grinding, keep staying to your blueprint, and always believe in yourself. And I think it's very important to have mentors, to have coaches, to have people that can be there in your corner, maybe not always tell you what you want to hear, but
Yeah,
they're telling you maybe from experience and stuff like that. I talk to my old coaches and everything, and I always plan on it. You know what I mean? It's always going to be a part of me. And yeah, man, just want to give you a big shout out, man. I'm always in your corner. Very proud of what you're doing and everything. The stash is freaking unbelievable. You're looking like a young Tom Selleck. All
I
we got
appreciate
is a
that.
Flaherty shirt, and you
Come,
could be the next mayor of St. Petersburg, Florida.
yeah, it comes with the job. I think I had to. About 5 years ago, I told myself if I ever have a mustache, just slap that thing off my face, please. And here I am. I don't know how I got it. I think it started out as a joke, and my girlfriend was like, "Yeah, well, maybe." And then I just never took it off. I shaved it about a year ago, and then it found its way on my face again. Can't get rid of the thing. It's here to
Oh,
stay, I guess.
that is awesome, man. Well, I pretty much got nothing, man. I'm good to go. Anything else you'd like to chime in on, or anything you want to give a shout out to, or?
Man, I don't know. It's been a pleasure talking to you, though.
And absolutely. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and hit the end button and stay on, and we'll chop it up for a little bit. We'll schedule something in the future.
All right, Coach.
All right, Totem Pole Nation, to the next episode.
Thanks for having me on.